shut the lights down in the city. Say the system's on the ropes, while the same hands that broke it hold your paycheck and your hopes. They'll sell your sweat for silver, call your sacrifice relief, but every drop of truth we bleed writes another line of belief. Freedom isn't free, it's carved in blood and fire and stone. It's the price of stand tall when they tell you to kneel and go home. They can lock up every promise, tax the air we breathe, but they'll never chain the hearts of those who still believe. 'Cause freedom isn't free. They preach peace from marble towers while they fence off your front yard. They wave a flag made out of rules and call obedience smart. They'll brand your voice as danger, they'll mock your faith as greed, but freedom don't need permission, it just needs men who bleed. Freedom isn't free, it's carved in blood and fire and stone. It's the price of standing tall when they tell you kneel and go home. They can lock up every promise, tax the air we breathe, but they'll never change the hearts of those who still believe. 'Cause freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free, it's written in red on history's page, a warning to the tyrants and the cowards of the age. They can bury us in silence, but the truth still screams. Freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free.
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Come gather round the footlights, lads, and hear the old boards groan. A tale of ink and iron will, of voices overblown. From mics and scripts to painted sails, we've traded shore for sea. The players will man the rigging soon. Aye, all hands, follow me. From Long John shadowed silver grin to Jim with compass true, we speak the words, we wear the scars, we make the old world new. No gold without the work behind, no legend without sweat. A stage, a ship, a single breath, the course is not set yet. We players sail, we players sail, we players sail soon. All hands to KLRN Radio. setting sail for Treasure Island, March 2026!
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Got a vendetta. Coffee tastes like bad decisions I ain't made yet. Boss man talking about we got her, and that means me, brother. Afraid I got a terminal case of the I don't want us. Mind checked out. Heart ain't in the building.
All right, welcome into the program, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday. I had a whole thing planned. I was gonna do the usual, just chill out Friday, lean into Friday the 13th a little bit, mix that into some of the intros and the outros. And, Friday the 13th theme, those kind of things. Usually the fun things I try to do when I can, but today's not one of those days. Anyways, welcome into the program. First of all, we're going to be making up for lost time because I had an issue, so we got started a little bit late. Please make sure that you are pushing out the feeds wherever you're finding us at today. If you're watching us on X, make sure you're following along with whatever account you're finding there if you are so inclined. If you're finding us on Rumble, Facebook, or YouTube, please make sure to either hit that follow button or whatever's available for you there. I think YouTube and Rumble both say subscribe. I think X gives you the option to follow. So whatever you want to do. But today, unfortunately, is not going to be one of my usual happy-go-lucky fun show Friday kind of days. I was trying, I really was, but people have me pissed off. And sorry about it, but it's just the truth because I'm tired of this. I am tired of living in a country where we have to apologize for giving a damn about what happens here. No other country in the world, save maybe Great Britain, has the apologist complex that we have when it comes to things like Islam. And I just don't get it. And after what's been happening for the last couple of weeks, I can't. I've been trying to dial it back. I've been trying to be a good boy because I'm trying to build the brand, and there's rules that you have to follow, and there's things that you can't say, and there's a chance that everything that I'm trying to build could get torn down because I'm not using the proper language, but I just don't give a shit anymore. I can't. Not with what we live in, not with what we're living in today. And I have so many things that we are going to be talking about today that I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get through all of them, but we're damn sure going to try. So we're going to start with this one right here. Before cancel culture got really heavy, and before we got deboosted and demonetized everywhere, knocked to the bottom of the ladder and everything else, I was one of the loudest voices about this stuff. And then they silenced me for me. And then I've slowly started trying to build back up. But look, I'm going to say this. I am not an Islamophobe. I have never been an Islamophobe. Never. Because phobia, by definition, is a Greek word that means an irrational fear of. There is no irrational fear of Islam. There is a smart fear of Islam. There's a fear of Islam that does and can make sense, And there's a healthy fear that you should have about Islam, especially if you are not an Islamist, because these people do not like us. These people do not want us to exist. These people want to wipe us off the map. And now there are so many of them here and so many in Britain and so many everywhere else that they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're not. So yeah, there is another word. It's eulabeia, which is also Greek. And it is basically a healthy fear or a rational caution based in common sense. So I'm not Islamophobic, but I do have Islam eulabeia. That's really hard to say. And they're both Greek words. For some reason, phobia and phobic and all those things that came with it caught on in the English language. For some reason, this one didn't. Probably because, it's not as scary. But yeah, it means basically being prudent, having a reverent caution, or rational fear of real danger. So no, having a fear of Islam is not a phobia. It is common sense. And if you don't believe me, we're going to start letting you hear this from these people in their own words, because I don't know how else to do it.
Message for the people of Gaza. The message for the people of Gaza is going to be more of the message that should be sent to the people here, in that they have achieved victory. We haven't done anywhere near enough. And the people here, I promise you, we do feel ashamed. We do feel like we're not doing enough. We do feel like change needs to come, because change must come. And in the form that it must come is that this empire, the American empire that's been hurting our people since the beginning, the imperial Western powers that have been hurting our people since the beginning, they must fall. And inshallah they will fall. And my message to the people of Gaza and the oppressed peoples across the world is that there are people here, both young and old, who are going to be willing to fight and are willing to put their lives and everything they can on the line to bring these empires down, because they must come down.
So there's clip number one. So I'm gonna...
The message for the people of Gaza is going to be more of the message that should be sent to the people here, in that they have achieved victory. We haven't done anywhere near enough. And the people here, I promise you, we do feel ashamed. We do feel like we're not doing enough. We do feel like change needs to come, because change must come. And in the form that it must come is that this empire, the American empire that's been hurting our people since the beginning, the imperial Western powers that have been hurting our people since the beginning, they must fall. And inshallah they will fall. And my message to the people of Gaza and the oppressed peoples across the world is that there are people here, both young and old, who are going to be willing to fight and are willing to put their lives and...
All right, so I'm not going to play it all the way through, but I'm going to leave it on the screen for a second because I want to point out a couple things. One, this chick, this one, yeah, she looks a little weirded out by this entire conversation. So I'm not quite sure she knew what was going to be happening here. But I need you to understand what this man just said, and they have proven it to you over the last couple of weeks if you're willing to pay attention. There have been terror attacks popping up all over the place for the last 2 weeks. And almost nobody's really talking about them and calling them what they are. Because we can't, because we're afraid we're going to offend people. Well, guess what? The left is already perpetually offended, so I really don't give a damn if I offend them anymore. Because they are perpetually offended. It's the only way that they win anything, is to keep everybody so emotionally heightened that all they're thinking about is, oh, it's so terrible that you guys say this thing about the poor Muslims who want to chop my head off at any given opportunity. I can't with this anymore. I just can't. Because it doesn't make any sense. None of this makes a damn bit of sense, that we now live in a country where we are ceding our authority more and more to people that are saying the quiet parts out loud. The left doesn't give a shit about us anymore. The left only gives a shit about being able to shore up its voter base. And its voter base is the illegal aliens. It's not even us anymore. They're losing voters left, right, and center because they've shifted the Overton window so far that they started to have to import votes. If they hadn't imported a bunch of voters and hadn't done all kinds of trickery and chicanery in 2020, we wouldn't even probably be having this conversation right now. But now if we don't fix it, this could be the end of us because they're not playing anymore. They're saying the quiet parts out loud. They're telling us exactly what it is that they plan on doing. All of them. Now here's somebody else who seems to think and feel kind of how I feel about where we're at right now. And I'm going to let you guys hear this, and then you can, discuss among yourselves and with me if you choose whether you agree with what this person is saying or not. But here we go.
We are to the point where we want to protect the United States of America and not have it compromised by third world cultures or cultures that don't fit here. We are tired of the crime. We are tired of the living in fear. We are tired of the financial oppression. We are tired of the lies. We are tired of the propaganda. We are tired of the intentional division, and we want it cleaned up. And Trump said he was going to clean it up. It hasn't happened, and it could happen very fast. I think most people understand that. And that's what we elected him to do. I think most people that voted for Trump wanted him to take drastic, harsh action. And I think he's got a lot of people around him now that are saying, oh, you don't want to do that because that'll make them mad. Dude, those people are going to hate him no matter what. They're going to hate him no matter what he does, whether he does it easy or whether he does it hard. If we really want to fix the country, it would be much more effective to do it real hard, fast, so that people can see the result of what those changes look like for the next 3 years, and they'll never go back to that. We are to...
And he's right. In a lot of ways, Trump hit the ground running in his first year. And I was really pleased with a lot of the things that he did, but then you could kind of feel it about halfway through that first 6 months. You could kind of feel that a lot of things felt like they were kind of trying to let off the gas. There were still a lot of things they were doing, but there were a lot of things that it seemed like they had kind of given up on. And this is one of them. I have now seen even the Republican think tanks and everybody else's to get ready for the midterms, stop talking about mass deportations. The fuck you just say? No. Talk about all the mass deportations. Line them up and get them the hell out of here. Period. Full stop. I don't want to hear any more from the Jessica Tarlovs about, well, I thought you said you guys were going after the worst first. We were, but y'all weren't cooperating with us, so we decided to go after all of them. That is not our problem. That is a you problem. You guys decided to keep your stupid sanctuary city and sanctuary state policies, so now they all get to go. You know who should go to the front of the line? Every fucking Muslim. Every single one of them. I don't care, because let me clue you in on a little something. There is either a practicing Muslim or a non-practicing Muslim. There is no such thing as a moderate Muslim. They do not exist. They are not a thing. They have convinced you that they are, because that's what they do. They come in quietly and they behave at first. And then you notice little interesting changes, things that can't happen in the countries that they came from, because to do some of the things that they do in the lands that they are trying to conquer are illegal in the lands that they came from. These loud calls to prayer with everybody going outside and praying towards Mecca in public, guess what? In Islamic countries, that's illegal. It's also considered rude. But you know why they do it here? And you know why they do it in Britain? It's to show you how many of them that there are, so that you start to see you can't resist us anymore. You can pretend you can try, but there are getting to be the point where there's and we are angrier than you are. And they are, because they hate us. They want us dead, and they stopped hiding it a long time ago. But we're not willing to hear it. We're not willing to see it. We're not willing to talk about it. And if you start trying to talk to a leftist about it, you know what they tell you? Oh, it doesn't matter. They don't really mean it. They had a hard life, so they're mad. They don't really mean these things. Yes, they do. And they always have. But we have this weird thing that we have developed in Western nations called suicidal empathy, and it is going to be the death of us. Quite literally. Quite literally going to be the death of us. Now, you want to know how much they hate everything about us? I saw a Muslim the other night, and I think I bookmarked it, but I don't remember for sure, who was complaining about... He was complaining about, I believe it was the flag of Great Britain, because he said it looked like a cross. And he doesn't want that. But here's another one. I'm not even going to introduce this one first. We're just going to watch it, and then you can see the look on his face and figure out what he's pissed off about here in just a second. Now, remember, these are the same people that want their loud-ass call to prayer everywhere. Now, according to this video, that is a Muslim who is very annoyed by the church bells. Very annoyed by the church bells. Because, again, they don't believe in coexistence. This weird thing that the left has come up with. Friendly reminder that I'm still dead. I don't even know who that is. Anyway. I think I'm being trolled in my chat, but I'm confused by the trolling. That's all right. All right. So anyway, look, they don't like us. They have never liked us. And they are starting to tell us the quiet parts out loud. One of the quiet parts out loud is when they tell you, this is our land now, not yours. Now here's another one. Again, this is in Dearbornistan. By the way, we used to call it Dearborn, Michigan, but now it's basically Dearbornistan. I want you to hear this and pay really close attention, because most of you probably don't even know this is happening.
Not a great look. The mayor condemned it. The White House condemned it. But what about Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib? She reps Dearborn. Is she okay with her constituents chanting death to America? Fox Business correspondent Hillary Vaughn asked her. Watch.
Congresswoman Tlaib.
Fox News. I don't talk to Fox News.
At a rally in your district, people were chanting death to America. Do you condemn?
I do not talk to Fox News.
But do you condemn chants of death to America?
I don't talk to people that use racist tropes.
Why can't you just say whether or not you condemn people chanting death to America? Why are you afraid to talk to Fox?
Fox News is not listen, using racist tropes towards my community is what Fox News is about, and I don't talk to Fox News.
Is death to America racist?
Fox News.
Is chanting death to America racist?
I'm talking about your guys' racist tropes. You guys know exactly what you do. I know you're Islamophobic, but you guys got to go deal with it on your own self. You're not going to use me.
Again, none of us have an irrational fear of Islam. We have a very grounded, based fear of Islam. And it is a fear that makes sense. It is a fear that you don't need to be afraid of expressing, because these people want you dead. And they have proven it over and over and over again. But because we're afraid we're going to hurt everybody's feelings, God forbid we say anything about it. God forbid we tell people how we actually feel about something. God forbid that we have all of this going on. And you know the funny thing about this? This is from Amy Curtis, who'll be hanging out with us for the Weekend News Roundup later at 3. So all it took for Democrats to start the process to cave on DHS funding was a total of, count them, 4 terrorist attacks. Yes, I said 4. Terrorist attacks. Yes, that was a terrible count, but I'm not really in the mood to be funny today. So 2 days ago, Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz, a Democrat, said his party was serene amid the current government shutdown. That was despite TSA agents not getting paid and hours-long lines at airports that made travel hell for Americans. Speaking of which, it's about to be spring break here which means in other parts of the country, it's going to be spring break next week. So, yeah, if this doesn't wrap up soon, there's going to be a lot of mad people. And I don't think Chuck E. Schumer's ready for it. So, Democrats did all that because they wanted to defund the Department of Homeland Security and abolish ICE so they can put illegal aliens, including violent criminals, ahead of the safety and security of Americans. And the irony here is both of the things that they're protesting against and trying to, bend to people's wills, them to people's wills about, those have already been funded. So here's the thing. So this was even before the 2 terror attacks that took place yesterday, which did, by the way, in Virginia. Mohammed Jalal opened fired at Old Dominion University, killing Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw, a professor and decorated veteran, and wounding 2 others in the school's ROTC program. Those ROTC cadets ended up subduing Jalal and ending his life, protecting one another. It turns out Jalal, a naturalized citizen from Sierra Leone, was arrested in 2017 and sentenced to 11 years in prison for providing support to the terror group ISIL. First of all, why the hell was he only sentenced to 11 years? Better question is, last I checked, 2017 to 2026 wasn't 11 years. So not only did he get a light-ass sentence for basically committing treason, he got let out early? Seriously? And what did he do with that time? So he was providing support to the terror group ISIL, now referred to as ISIS again, including traveling overseas several times to join them. Jalal was released in 2024 for some reason that we haven't been able to find out, and wasn't immediately denaturalized and deported, because we don't have a clean, easy way to do that. That is something that we need to fix. But I say we take it a step further. I'm not interested in denaturalization and deportation. These people, if they are materially aiding and abetting our enemies, that is treason. That is treason. There's another story that I'm going to be getting to here in a little bit that talks about the fact that a lot of Democrats are receiving donations from Iran. That is receiving material from an open and declared enemy of the United States that has been at war with us for 47 years, even if we refuse to see the fact that they were at war with us for 47 years. So I want to know why these people's assets haven't been frozen. I want to know why their shit hasn't been seized. And I want to know why they're not being brought up on charges. I'm done playing with these people. If we don't wake up, there won't be anything left to save. Because that's where we are. The worst thing about this whole thing, and I know everybody's talking about how the ROTC kids were heroes, and I completely agree with that, but I am tired of living in a world where we are putting children in these situations because we don't want to be mean. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't want to upset anyone. You know what? I spent most of my second marriage walking on eggshells. I'll be damned if I do it anymore, especially in my own damn country. I am not walking on eggshells around these people. I am not giving up the things that I like to eat. I'm not giving up the things that I like to drink. And if they want to hang around with me, they're going to watch me eat them and drink them. And if they don't want to do that, then they don't have to hang around with me. Period. I am tired of people thinking that they can come into this country and they can change it to where they came from. That is not the point of this country. That is the antithesis of the reason this country was founded. We were trying to get away from bullshit like this. Islam is not a faith. Islam is not a religion. It's a theocracy wrapped in a legal system. That's not a faith. And I'm tired of people trying to tell me that it is. So, hang on, I think there's a clip. Because she kind of walked some of her tough talk back in a press conference that I think happened today. And I think I have the clip, so hang on, I'm trying to find it. Oh. Sorry, my mouse is being a little extra special today for some reason. Or it could be the operator of the mouse. Hey, we have an Andrew sighting. I didn't notice you there, brother. Sorry, I'm not really paying that much attention to the chat right now because I'm trying to do a million different things. But thank you for hanging out with me this Friday, even though it's not going to be the usual kind of show. I can't do all the fun stuff today, not in the way that I normally do. So,
ton of DHS folks, the CBP, and so they are on the call and they are doing their jobs. Certainly, we need to fund the Department of Homeland Security, and we need, in my view, to cut away all the conversation on ICE, which is its own conversation, from all the core missions of the Department of Homeland Security. But they're essential. They're on the job. They're working today.
Guy, that seems significant. Maybe a shift, stripping away the ICE conversation and funding the department.
Well, ICE is already funded for the next 3 years, so that conversation should have been stripped away already. For her to say that certainly we need to fund Homeland Security, I agree, but I'm not the one who voted to keep it closed yesterday, which is what she did. There was a vote on this yesterday, which finished, by the way, after the attack in Michigan, in her state. She reacted on social media to that terrorist attack in her state before the vote ended. That kept the Democrat filibuster alive, meaning that the DHS department remains closed. She made that choice to vote to maintain the shuttering, the temporary closing of our Homeland Security Agency. And then she comes on the cameras today and says, oh, well, certainly we need to fund it. She had the chance to do so yesterday, and she chose not to. This was after, by the way, there are 47 Democrats in the Senate. 46 of them voted to maintain their filibuster to keep DHS closed. This is after 4 apparent jihadist attacks on the homeland in the last 2 weeks. 4 homeland attacks in 2 weeks, and nearly every single Democrat in the Senate voted to keep Homeland Security closed. It's astonishing.
One of those.
All right, so yeah, he just said it. You know, it's one thing to say, hey, it's time to reopen everything, but it makes a hell of a lot less sense when you realize that yesterday when she voted to keep everything closed still was after these attacks had already occurred. So yeah, I call that giving folks the shine where I come from, and I think that's pretty much what we got. So yeah, according to Slotkin, who just voted to not fund Homeland Security, she says it's time to fund Homeland Security. So fun times, fun times. All right, so hang on, I'm trying to find some of the other stuff I've got here. So we did that one, we did that one. Okay, so this is Keith Self, and he is representative in Congress, and finally, people are starting to say what I got deboosted for saying. I wonder what's going to happen to him, but let's give this a listen real quick, and then we'll take the first break. I got a late start, but I'm still going to have to wrap up fairly close to on time, so I'll have to shave off some time, which is another reason why I'm not playing the full Friday song. That I'm not really in the mood for it. So, here we go.
Sharia, as a supremacist ideology that demands submission and rejects our freedoms, falls squarely into this category. It refuses to tolerate dissent, equality, or our nation's law. To preserve America's tolerance, liberty, and open society, we must firmly reject and refuse to accommodate Sharia. Unlimited tolerance for such intolerance would destroy the very foundations of our tolerant republic. Sharia includes clear, real-world practices that directly violate our Constitution. Sharia, as a supremacist ideology that demands submission and rejects our freedoms.
All right, so for everybody who's about to say, that's not what it is, let me remind you what Islam means in English. It means submit. So yes, that's exactly what it is. Sharia law is a legal system. And the funny thing is, and I didn't get a chance to talk about this the other day when I had a bunch of trolls in chat asking me, where is Sharia law being practiced? You might want to go check out the no-go zones in London because they use Sharia law there all the time. Yeah, there's stories about it all the time from over there. And I'm pretty sure, even though we're not being told about it, pretty sure there's probably some Sharia zones in Dearbornistan Otherwise, they wouldn't feel so comfortable with chanting death to America in the middle of motherfucking America. Just saying. Just saying. So we can keep wringing our hands about stuff. Well, part of it's because we keep offending everyone. No, that's not why. That's not why. All right, so let's take the break. When we come back, I do have one fun story because we're right around 6 years from the anniversary of Joe Biden really stepping in it, and almost nobody talks about that. But we are going to take the first break of the show. The first break is 2 and 4, our first responders. Andrew's like, but I'm only here for the military one. Yeah, I know. Now that you said that, I'm going to see how long I can make you wait. Anyway, so Friday we do, I usually do musical breaks in the middle other than ads because people used to complain about all the ads that we were playing. So especially for the folks that listen on the audio versions later that have ads automatically dropped in too. So we started writing our own music, and we have the KLR Radio House Band. This was, I think, the second or third track that we sent out and is available pretty much everywhere. This is Always Standing in the Gap, and it is a salute to all of the first responders, everybody from dispatch, fire, paramedics, police, and everything in between, if there's anything that hasn't been mentioned, because they help keep us safe here. And unfortunately, we haven't made their jobs any easier by letting Joe Biden fling the borders wide open and just let everybody in. We're going to get into that probably a little bit in hour 2 as well. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Comes in, somebody answers. Day or night, they're already moving. Calm voices, fast hands, doing the work while the rest of the world freezes. From a headset to a truck, from a badge to a door, they don't stop to count the cost. They step in when it matters. It's not about being seen, it's about being there. They're holding the line when the lines go dead, standing their ground when the world goes dark. They're the calm in the chaos, holding the line through the fire, the flood. When everything falls, they don't ask why, they just answer the call. Always standing in the gap for us all. Before the sirens fade, before the scene is clear, someone's already making sense of the moment. Keeping people alive, keeping things from getting worse. Some run toward danger, some stay behind and hold it together. Different roles, same weight, same promise to show up. When everything's on the line, they're already there. They're holding the line when the lines go dead, standing their ground when the world goes dark. They're the calm in the chaos, holding the line through the fire, the flood. When everything falls, they don't ask why, they just answer the call. Always When everything's breaking, they hold their ground. They're the calm in the chaos, holding the line. So we raise our voices for the ones who stand. Every voice, every badge, every helping hand. They don't ask why, they just answer the call. Always standing in the gap for us all. Always standing in the gap for us all. For those who run and for those who hold steady. For those who stand in the gap.
All right, and there you have it. Always standing in the gap. One of, I believe, the second or third release from the KLR Radio House Band, available on all your favorite streaming music platforms, and slowly starting to transition video formats over into YouTube too. But right now I'm a one-man production house, so it takes a minute to get things done. All right, so anyway, so we're back. We're live. And I told you I have a kind of sort of, not, I don't really want to, I don't know. Does it count as a fun story? Does it really? I don't really know. But I thought it was interesting because we're like 6 years from the 2 weeks to slow the spread. We're kind of right in the middle of that time frame. And so this happened around that time too. It's not a very long clip though, so here you go.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. Everybody remember that? Because I remember that. And look, it wasn't just Biden. Trump oversold the vaccines too. It's one of the things that irritated me about what was happening. But Trump is a salesman, and he thought he was on the right track, and he was trying to make everybody feel better. So he's like, these things are awesome. And then they slapped a bunch of drug company labels on them, even though they were being manufactured by our military industrial complex, which I don't really know how I feel about that either, if I'm being quite honest with you. But my favorite line from Joe Biden during that time frame was, look, you're not going to get it if you get the vaccine. And then it turned into, well, it won't be as bad because you got the vaccine. And then they're like, well, maybe you won't die because you got the vaccine. When in reality, there was like $30 worth of preventive crap that you could have taken for like 30 days or so and probably come out the other side of it just fine. But the irony of this situation came much later, because remember, in March of 2020 and around that time, all we kept hearing is trust the science, trust the science, trust the science. And 3, 4, 5 months later is when all of a sudden Facebook was adding pregnant man emojis. What was that about trusting science again? I'm confused. What was we were supposed to trust what now? But suddenly there's a pregnant man emoji on my phone. But we're supposed to be trusting the science. I thought we were supposed to be trusting the science. I don't understand. All right, so that was your 30-second levity break. This is the I don't know who's heard this. I don't know who's seen this, but we're playing it. This is a guy who survived all the crap in '79. Here we go.
I remember going to school, and I remember he took a gun out of a holster, put it in my head, and with his hands shaking, he just kind of started to quote the Quran. And he said that he's been sent to make an example of us. So obviously, I'm Persian, I'm Iranian, and I'm an American citizen by paperwork, but I was born in Iran. And in 1979, when the Ayatollah Khomeini and his religious zealots took over the nation of Iran, my dad was high-ranked in the military. I went to a military school in our army base. About the week and a half, 2 weeks into the revolution, they called us out behind the school for an assembly. We get out in this field, and a soldier was standing in front of the whole school, took out a piece of paper, said the name of 3 students, mine being the first one, and asked us to make our way to the front. The government had been overthrown, the Ayatollah Khomeini had taken over, and they were using terror. They were using fear. the greatest weapon of a terrorist, like to instill fear in the life of people so they won't rise up against you. And I made my way to the front, and I remember he took a gun out of a holster, put it in my head, and with his hands shaking, he just kind of started to quote the Quran. They had decided because of who my father was, they were going to make an example out of me. And so the school principal got between me and the gun and said, please come back another day. And so they took me in a car back home. And my dad got home, and that's when he told me, the government has been overthrown. You're not going back to school. We're going to get out of here. Before we could implement the escape plan, soldiers coming to my home and dragging my dad out of our home. My mom had her hands around the leg of one of the soldiers. She's just screaming, just let him die quickly, just let him die quickly. We sat there in the front with my mom, and she said, let's pray. That's my first memory ever of prayer.
When she's saying let's pray, is this an Islamic family?
Yeah, we're Shia Muslim. So my mom says, let's pray. All she kept saying over and over again in the prayer was the same thing. She was crying and she just kept saying, let him die quickly, let him die quickly. And then my sister says, why are we saying that? We need to pray that your dad's not tortured, he's just killed quick. So when you're 9,
bro,
and you're praying that,
gosh.
the last thing you're thinking is, God loves me and has a wonderful plan for my life. So I remember being a 9-year-old kid and thinking, I don't know what we've done to make God so mad. And that afternoon, my dad wasn't killed. And so we planned our escape. And at that time, bro, nobody was allowing people from my neck of the woods into your neck of the woods. I'm from Iran. People are turning the TV on. There's a revolution going on. They're burning the American flag, calling America the great Satan. And all of a sudden, it's a theocracy, and they're taking over. So it's the very beginnings of that moment, right? And then my mom got us together one day, and she showed us a picture of a white man, kind of a handsome Duck Dynasty looking fella. She was like, well, we've kind of exhausted all our evidence. She was like, this is Jesus, and he's American, and we need to ask him to let us into his country.
Are you serious?
We close our eyes and we're like, Jesus, let us into your country. And man, a week after we mentioned the name of Jesus, he opened the doors for us we couldn't open for ourselves. And so, man, we're coming to America all of a sudden, and I'm thinking, I hate religion, but hey, Jesus, thanks for letting us into your country.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, he's, of course, laughing and, joking about it now. But imagine what they put this 9-year-old kid through. Just think about that for a second. Imagine yourself being 9 years old and watching your father being dragged away and having your mother tell you, we need to pray that your father is killed quickly and not tortured. This is what we're fighting against. This is what we've been fighting against for 47 years off and on, even though most of us never wanted to face the fact that we've been at war with these people. And the reason we've been at war with these people is the same reason that I've been trying to tell you guys for pretty much as long as I've been doing this, that we are at war with these people, because two opposing ideologies cannot coexist in the same space for very long. So we have a choice. We can either roll over and we can do what Islam says and submit, or we can decide that enough is enough. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say this again. For all of you that keep telling me that there are moderate Muslims, and there are so many more moderate Muslims than there are radicalized Muslims. And according to your own math, there are, because there's about 1.5 million radicalized ones and supposedly about 10 million that aren't. Why aren't they cleaning up their own house? I say this all the time. Christians do our best to try to clean up our own house. We don't always get it right, and there are plenty of things that happen bad inside the church. There are plenty of bad things that happen inside the church. But one of the biggest groups that was pretty prevalent in the early to mid 2000s, or 2000, 2010-ish, 2015-ish, Westboro Baptist Church. You know who you don't hear about anymore? Westboro Baptist Church. Because we took them to the woodshed. So, if there are moderate Muslims, please come get your drunk ones. They're in our country and we don't want them here anymore. Please and thank you. And yes, it's a joke. I know Muslims don't drink. But I don't really care about their delicate sensibilities anymore either. Because I just don't. So here's another little interesting tidbit as we get through some of these clips. Because this is something else. Seems like nobody wants to talk about. And that's this right here. All right, so I'm going to leave that paused on the screen while we discuss. Okay. All right. So I know I have one of those "it's all the Jews' fault" people in my chat. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds if you're still here. Explain to me how all this is the Jews' fault. You have 30 seconds starting now. And if I don't like your answer, you go bye-bye. Anyway. All right. So, yeah. So wait, what exactly is the disruption? You're talking about the slave markets that we're about to be talking about, that I'm about to embig it on the screen here so everybody says it. This is according to the United Nations, who I don't really trust any further than I can throw them, except for gathering information. This is Mauritania, an Islamic country that still maintains slave markets publicly. And they typically buy, sell, and trade about 80,000 people a year, according to the information that we've been able to find. So, remember, according to the left, slavery is evil. Except they're buddying up to people that still practice it. I'm confused. What happened to that? What happened to that party alignment shift that supposedly happened in the 60s? I thought y'all didn't like slavery anymore. I thought y'all said it was us that wanted slavery now. Remember? That's the whole thing. Been hearing this my entire life. When I was 18 and first registered to vote as a Republican, all my friends, when they found out I registered to vote as a Republican, you know that's the racist party now, right? Citations? And you know, anytime I ever ask people for citations, you know what I got? Bunch of that. Because they don't know how to answer the question. They just know how to repeat what they've been told. That the Republicans are the bad party. Guess what? I'm not even a registered Republican anymore because I don't like either of the parties. Both of the parties are basically the same thing. The only thing that's really different is the speed with which they want to get us to their final destination. The disruptor, the one who came in and actually started trying to fix things, was Donald Trump, and that's why neither side likes him. Yes, one side puts up with him because he's got their letter behind his name, but they don't like him. Most of them don't work with him. Most of them don't want him fixing the things that are actually broken. And I said this last night on BZ's show. If the government actually tried to fix what was broken, we wouldn't need them anymore. And it really is just that simple. All right, so we're going to take the break. That gives me a chance to look at the chat and see if the smooth-brained Jew haters come up with anything cognizant to say or not. So this break will, in fact, be the military tribute, though, so Andrew will be happy. We'll be right back. Top of the hour on the other side. Stay tuned.
Before the oath was spoken out loud, before you stood apart from the crowd, there was a moment, quiet and clear, when you chose to stand while others stayed here. You raised your hand with a steady resolve, knowing some nights don't end when the mission's done. Not for glory, not for the pay, but for something worth more than walking away.
Only hold the line.
They carried the weight where the roads ran long, through dust and heat
when the days went on,
holding ground mile after mile, doing the work that rarely drew a smile. They stood their post when relief ran late, shoulders squared under the pull of fate.
Not chasing headlines, not asking why, just staying put when others pass by. We stand and watch in different ways, different nights, the same long days. One old spoken carried through, wherever duty calls us to.
We stand watch over the deep. They kept their watch where the water turns, miles from shore with no quick way back, measuring time by the rise and the fall, answering duty's unrelenting call. Through silent hours and endless seas, they stood their post in the cold night breeze, guarding the lanes the world depends on, so others slept and the light stayed on. We stand the watch in different ways, different nights, the same long days. One old spoken carried through, wherever duty calls us to. Simplify Marine, we go where we're sent. We go where we're sent. They moved as one when the moment came, side by side through fire and rain. First to step where the ground was thin, not for the odds but for the ones beside them.
Trust was earned in the hard way through, every promise carried by the few. No turning back once the line was crossed.
They stood shoulder to shoulder as brothers,
never counting the cost. We stand the watch in different ways, different nights, the same long days.
one old spoken carried through, wherever duty calls us to. Air Force,
the sky is our domain.
Air Force,
the sky is our domain.
they held their focus where seconds seem eternal, soaring between clouds and blue. Every movement measured and true, knowing what one clean moment could do.
They watch the whole while guarding the small, every mission tied to a larger call. Calm under pressure, steady and clear, keeping the promise from far overhead.
Space Force,
we guard the dark without
they
faith,
keep their vigil
where silence reigns,
beyond the weather,
beyond the rain.
watching the paths that the world relies on, long before the warning lights come on.
Cloud, no banners, no clear view,
just constant care in a canvas full of stars,
standing the watch through the endless night,
guarding the systems that keep us in light. While the watch is kept and the lines hold fast, there are lives still moving on the other side of that.
empty chairs and quiet phones, long goodbyes that don't feel done.
Names we carry but never say, folded flags and debts we pay. Every service, every scar reaches farther than the uniform ever could.
Coast Guard, we come when it matters most.
They launch into storms when hope feels thin, turning back isn't an option then. Hands reach out where the waters rise, pulling lives back from the edge of time. No headlines waiting when the call is done, just breathing restored and another life won. Every rescue, every return, a quiet promise kept in the worst conditions. We stand the watch in different ways, different nights, the same long days. One old spoken carry through wherever duty calls us to. For the ones who raised the right hand high, swore the oath and didn't ask us why. For the nights you stood where freedom cost, we remember, we honor, we won't forget the loss. From the ground to the sea to the open sky, to the guardians above where the silent stars fly. Every branch, every badge, every battle scar, because you stood, we live free. Oh, each know we stand here freely because others stood before us. We accept the weight of what was given and the cost that came with it. We promise to remember those who serve, those who stand watch still, and those who never came home.
lights dashing in the city, say the system's on the ropes, while the same hands that broke it hold your paycheck and your hopes. They'll sell your sweat for silver, call your sacrifice relief, but every drop of truth we bleed writes another line of belief. Freedom isn't free, it's carved in blood and fire and stone. It's the price of stand tall when they tell you to kneel and go home. They can lock up every promise, tax the air we breathe, but they'll never change the hearts of those who still believe. 'Cause freedom isn't free. They preach peace from marble towers while they fence off your front yard. They wave a flag made out of rules and call obedience smart. They'll brand your voice as danger, they'll mock your faith as greed, but freedom don't need permission, it just needs men who bleed. Freedom isn't free, it's carved in blood and fire and stone. It's the price of standing tall when they tell you kneel and go home. They can lock up every promise, tax the air we breathe, but they'll never change the hearts of those who still believe. 'Cause freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free, it's written in red on history's page, a warning to the tyrants and the cowards of the age. They can bury us in silence, but the truth still screams. Freedom isn't free.
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLR.
Come gather round the footlights, lads, and hear the old boards groan. A tale of ink and iron will, of voices overblown. From mics and scripts to painted sails, we've traded shore for sea. The players will man the rigging soon. Aye, your hands, follow me. From Long John shadowed silver grin to Jim with compass true, we speak the words, we wear the scars, we make the old world new. No gold without the work behind, no legend without sweat. A stage, a ship, a single breath, the course is not set yet. We players sail, we players sail, we players sail soon. All hands to KLRN Radio. setting sail for Treasure Island, March 2026.
Got a vendetta. Coffee tastes like bad decisions I ain't made yet. Boss man talking about we got her, and that means me, brother. Afraid I got a terminal case of the I don't want us. Mind checked out, heart ain't in the building. That second hand's crawling like it hates my guts. The man treating rich like it's a sin, even God took a beat. So, suck it. Thank God it's Friday, punching out loud. Hands in the air, middle finger to 9 to 5. Bill's still waiting, but tonight I don't care. Cold beer sermon and a bar stool prayer. Take this job and shove it, I quit. Till Monday. Cause tonight I'm free. Yeah, work and wait. It ain't owning me. So raise them up high. Let the whistle blow. Thank God it's Friday. That's all I know. HR in the break room sounding like a preacher, talking about culture smiles and being team players. Clipboard dreams on the fluorescent light, selling hours of my life just to make it to Friday night. Got dirt on my jeans, grease on my hands, clock more over than quality plans. But when that bell rings, it's a holy sound. Feel like chains hit the floor when it echoes around. I ain't lazy, I just work my fill. If rest is a sin, guess I always will. Thank God it's Friday, punching out live. Hands in the air, middle finger to 9 to 5. Bill's still waiting, but tonight I don't care. Cold beer sermon and a bar stool prayer. Take this job and shove it, I quit. Till Monday. Cause tonight I'm free. Yeah, work and wait. It ain't on me. So raise them up high. Let the whistle blow. Thank God it's Friday. That's all I know. Boss can have Monday. But Friday night's mine, I ain't giving it away. I earned this beer, I earned this bay, earned every sip I'm about to take. Thank God it's Friday, punching out alive. Hands in the air, middle finger to 9 to 5. Bill's still waiting, but tonight I don't care. Cold beer sermon and a bar stool prayer. Take this job and shove it, I quit. Till Monday, cause tonight I'm free. Yeah, work and wait. It ain't on me. So raise them up high. Let the whistle blow. Thank God it's Friday.
I had to scramble and go grab my phone and try to keep things running while I was trying to get the computer to start working again. And then it was working for a second, and then it quit again. So if I sound out of breath, that's because I used to chase bad guys for a living. Now I don't run unless shit's chasing me, but I was trying not to have a whole bunch of dead air when everything started going sideways. I knew something weird was going on because everything hiccuped for a second, and then the military tribute song sounded like it had lots of reverb, which means for some reason, even though it's only loaded once, the system was playing it twice within about about a quarter second of each other. So yeah, anyway, we're back. We're live, and I apologize. I know I told you guys I was going to try to make up for some time today, but I was trying to figure out why nothing was suddenly working. So, yay, it's Friday, and it's Friday the 13th. I guess I should be expecting. Oh, all right. So we got to talk about this, right? Because this is one of the things that has been rattling around in my brain pan ever since we started watching the left come out in full-blown favor of Sharia law, which is really weird. Really weird. But, because of their acceptance basically means they agree with it, because if not, they wouldn't be tacitly accepting it. But so that's what makes this ironic, because every election cycle, especially the presidential one, you hear the same tired, tropey talking point from the left. And it's this one. The GOP wants to turn the clock back to the 1950s and put you back in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant and not able to do anything. The funny thing is, the whole time they've been convincing you that it was us that wanted to do that to you, they've been the ones wanting to replace that clock/watch with a sundial and party like it's $6.99. Because apparently they're cool with Sharia law, which is bad for women. It's bad for women. You know how I know they're cool with Sharia law? Because we have all kinds of Iranian women who are trying to stand up for themselves, in pockets, and Iranian people trying to stand up for themselves in pockets, and we keep telling them to stop. We being the left. We being the because I'm not one of them, but just saying. All right, so we had to talk about that because that has been something that's been driving me nuts. So yeah, but look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but with everything that's going on, the Democrats have lost the plot. And if you can't see that, I don't really know how to show it to you, other than to let you hear this and then you tell me what you think. I'm not going to tell you who it is first. Pop quiz, because I want to see. Okay, let me fix that. Pop quiz, hot shot. I want to see who knows who this is before I play it, or while I'm playing it, because I'm not gonna tell you.
4 terror attacks in the last couple of weeks alone. 2 just yesterday.
Yep.
We were talking about this earlier. Does it feel to you that something has changed in these last couple of weeks? You can feel it. What is it?
It does. I believe we are in a heightened threat environment, most likely because of events in the Middle East. Iran is a state sponsor of terrorism. We can decapitate the leadership there, but that does not decapitate the ability to be a state sponsor of terrorists. It does not decapitate the ability to inspire acts of terrorism, including acts of terrorism here in the homeland. And so, bottom line to all of this, Congress needs to fund the department that exists to ensure homeland security.
But how do you think about cybersecurity issues?
All right, so there you have former DHS Circuit Secretary under Obama basically telling the Democrats to get off their ass and fund TSA, etc. And look, I get it. Chucky Schumer tried to take his little victory lap. He's like, we tried to fund TSA and the Republicans said no. What about the rest of DHS, bitch? Because I bet you there was nothing about that in there. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? Okay, so we got to talk about this. Because remember, according to the left, we're going to lose. The Iranian people don't want freedom, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So let's check this out. This is from Nick Arama over at Red State. So we've seen Israel and the United States take out a lot of Iran's leaders. The two countries have also been pounding away at their military capacity. They've decimated their navy. I think we need to figure out a different word, because I think everybody seems to forget what decimated actually means. It's to reduce by a tenth. We've sunk like 90 of their ships. They only have like 100 and something. That is a lot more than decimating. Anyway, so they've decimated their navy and they've taken over their skies. Never before has a modern, capable military, which Iran used to have, been so quickly destroyed and made combat ineffective. And that was a direct quote from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. So, on one level, they've already largely succeeded in taking down the military. But how do you help the people along the way in rising up and overthrowing their oppressors? There's a new report that shows the Iranian people may have figured out a brilliant answer to that question with the help of Israel. Israel has been relying in part on target information sent by none other than ordinary Iranians for strikes carried out during the current war with Iran. The Wall Street Journal reported on Thursday. The report said this was the case on Wednesday night when an Israeli Hermes UAV struck Baziz checkpoints in Tehran, citing a senior Israeli security official. The official said Iranians on the ground have been transmitting information in Persian through Israeli social media accounts. According to the report, the information is first verified and vetted by Israeli authorities, and action is taken only after it is found to be accurate. All right, so let's watch some of this at work, just because I do try to have a little bit more fun on Fridays, even when everything's trying to go sideways. Anyway, here we go. I don't think there's any sound, but there should be a boom in a second. See, look big by the boom. That explosion brought to you by the Iranian resistance. Dun, dun, dun. That explosion brought to you by the Iranian resistance. Dun, dun, dun. So tell me again, these people don't want to be free. All the things that everybody's using, you know, the Tehran Timmys, they're like, see, they don't want to be free. They're telling us they're going to fight till their last breath and fight till their last drop of blood. Yeah, there's probably some guy off camera holding a gun on their head to get them to say that shit, just so y'all know. Y'all really don't understand. Y'all still don't really understand how any of this works when you're dealing with absolutely positively evil people. And it shows. Sorry about your luck. But yeah, so apparently that is what's happening now, is they are literally fighting for their lives in Iran now and trying to help us. So again, the Bajis are the security force primarily engaged in the repression of the people. They've helped maintain the mullahs in power over the years. Imagine what it must be like after years of being oppressed. You can now call in a strike like you're ordering a pizza on the people who may have killed your friends and your family members. Crowdsourced air support for a revolution. For the win, bitches. 21st century solutions to a problem that nobody else could figure out. Israel's like, hey, you let us know where they are, we'll come take them out for you. How you like that? Here's another clip. Same thing. This is Mossad calling on Iranians to assist in targeting the regime. I don't know if it's going to be in English or not, but we're going to play it anyway because why not? And apparently it was not. So here's the thing. So this is a brilliant move. Not only does it take the oppressors out, it encourages the resistance on the ground, and it also has to have the Basij cowering now a lot like their leadership was. It's likely to result in even more defections from the ranks. Now, of course, you do have to check to make sure the identification of the checkpoint is correct, which is what the Israelis are doing. But it's pretty easy to identify a Bazish checkpoint versus other kinds of traffic. One would think anyway. So another bit of quick kind of fun thing. So it was brought to my attention, sadly, yesterday, I believe, that the cardboard cutout picture where they were swearing in the new Ayatollah, the cardboard Ayatollah. Apparently, they didn't actually swear in a cardboard Ayatollah, but they did swear in a rather ominous funeral-looking like picture of the new apparent Ayatollah. So they basically they went from swearing in corrugated paper to just actual paper, and they still swore in paper. Every report that we can find, which are varying, is either dude is hospitalized, likely hit missing at least one of his legs, and possibly in a coma, or recuperating somewhere in a particular hospital, which is interesting because if dude is in a coma, that means somebody's being his mouthpiece, which is interesting when you think about it. At least a little bit, anyway. All right, so we got what, about 20-ish minutes left. Yes, free Persia from Islam. Exactly. And can we go back to calling it Persia again? Persia sounds so much cooler. I'm just saying. That should be, whenever they decide on a government, especially if they land on a democracy, that should be their new slogan. Make Iran Persia again. Yes, this needs to happen. Yes. Anyway, all right, so let's see what other news updates we can get into in the last few minutes. And don't forget, there'll be about an hour break, and then I'll be back for the weekend news roundup, usually with at least Brad Slager and Amy Curtis. I don't know if I'll have anybody from SHR today, because I think Sean is doing day gig stuff, and BZ was up late last night, so I don't really know. But either way, we should have at least somebody besides me hanging out. So, So, you remember that whole globalize the empanada thing? Yes, I said it wrong on purpose. Apparently, the people in the Netherlands, authorities there, are investigating a synagogue fire. This is, again, Amy Curtis. Just put it out within the last few minutes while I was dealing with my technical stuff. This is what Islamists and their leftist allies meant when they say globalize the intifada, or as I say it, globalize the empanada, because I still think they heard it wrong. The destruction of Jewish and eventually Christian houses of worship, culture, and society, wherever any of these things exist, in peace and harmony. The push for extending the spirit of Palestinian resistance worldwide, which includes killing people at music festivals, the systemic rape and murder of women and children, and acts of terrorism labeled as resistance. In the Netherlands, authorities are investigating a fire at a synagogue, which is yet another example of the spread of the empanada. Police investigate overnight fire attack on Netherlands synagogue. According to Dutch police, they've opened an investigation into an arson attack at a synagogue in Rotterdam on Friday. In the latest incident of suspected anti-Semitic violence since the start of the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, no one was injured as a result of the fire, which was put out. No arrests have been made, according to the city's police. But around 3:40 a.m., a fire was started at a synagogue. Rotterdam police said in a post on X, the fire burned for a short time before extinguishing. The police added, calling for any witnesses to come forward with evidence. Another synagogue, 124 miles away in neighboring Belgium, was hit by an explosion on Monday, and what authorities said was yet another anti-Semitic attack. This is absolutely appalling and should be universally condemned. But there are some that seem to like this. So let's not forget, the newly elected communist fucking Islamic mayor of New York City, whose wife went on a liking and reposting and sharing spree for anything about October 7th from the perspective of the terrorists. Yeah. Fun times. So yeah, they're like I said, we have imported our own doom if we don't do something about it. Now, before anybody says anything, I'm not trying to incite anybody to do anything. I'm just saying, there's something, we got to figure something out. And hopefully it can be the government that figures it out, because I don't want to hear any more shit from the Republican think tanks about how we need to stop talking about mass deportations. No, we don't. We need all the mass deportations, and we need them 5 minutes ago. Can we get on that? Can we make it happen? So, yeah. All right. So, dude, there's so much to talk about, and unfortunately, a lot of my show today was chewed up with technical issues, and I apologize about that. So we got to talk about this real quick on the way out the door, and I'm sure we'll get into more stuff on the Weekend News Roundup here in about an hour. So under a controversial 2020 law that Newsom signed, California convicts over the age of 50 who have served 20 years in prison are now eligible for parole. This includes, and we've talked about this guy before, vile criminals like David Allen Funston, a serial child rapist. Why always let out the child rapists? Almost like they got a little something like, hey, can you give me the hookup? Just saying, it just seems a little weird. So a serial child rapist who was convicted in 1999 on a total of 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation involving multiple young children, including a 5-year-old immigrant girl whom Funston dumped 50 miles from her home. Now, another pedophile, see, told you, Gregory Lee Volkslang, is set to leave prison thanks to Newsom's law that we were just discussing. Volkslang molested several children in the 90s in the Sacramento area before being convicted of dozens of felony counts. He was sentenced to a total of 355 years in prison for his horrific crimes. The governor's office has referred this case to the full parole board for final review on March 18th. The California Board of Parole Hearings is at it again. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office wrote in a Facebook post about this particular decision. They have granted early release via the elderly parole program to sexually violent predator Gregory Volkslang, who molested more than 5 children in Citrus Heights and was sentenced to over 300 years in prison for his crimes. And he is headed to a neighborhood near you. So, look, I got to be very careful about how I say this, because we are trying to grow the YouTube a bit. And YouTube is still really, really picky. But I'm going to say this. When they've been sentenced to what would amount to, average lifespan, 70 years. So almost 5 consecutive life sentences. I think there's a more effective way to deal with that. I think there's a more effective way to deal with that, and there's no take-backs on that one either. So it can't be, well, they're older now, and no, we've already dealt with them. They're where they belong. Isn't that what we do in America? We find everybody where they belong. I think I can think of a really good place that people that molest children belong. And it starts with an H. Rhymes with jail, sort of, but it's not jail. But it does, it kind of sort of rhymes with jail, and it starts with an H. I think we should just start sending them there. Because then there's none of this, oh, this law says they get out now. No, sorry, they're currently filming the next episode of South Park with the cardboard version of Satan. Sorry, can't help you there. Yeah, there's no early release from there. So yeah, I'm sorry. I have zero empathy for anybody who does bad things to children. Zero. You know, you may or may not have justification for some of the things you do to adults, and that is something that I believe can and should be taken to court. But if you're convicted of doing bad things to children, nope. All right, so we got to get into this. This just broke. So there has been a fight going on in Missouri regarding the GOP redistricting plan. A Missouri judge has upheld their decision. So we've got redistricting battles playing out all across the country: Texas, California, Indiana, Virginia. So on Thursday, a Missouri trial court upheld the state's 2025 congressional redistricting map, giving the state a GOP win for now. The ruling rejected claims that the map violates the Missouri Constitution's compactness requirement, and Jackson County Circuit Court Judge Adam Kane declined to block the map from being used in future elections, meaning it remains in effect, but potentially only for now. Have you met SCOTUS? Anyway, sorry. That was kind of sort of an How I Met Your Mother throwback for anybody who's watched that show. But anyway, so the decision resolves one part of the legal challenge, but leaves the most consequential question still unsettled, with key issues still pending before the Missouri Supreme Court in a separate case challenging that very same map. In the Jackson County case styled Wise versus State combined with Healy versus State, plaintiffs argued the new map fractures major population centers, particularly Kansas City. They contended the districts were insufficiently compact, thus violating the Missouri Constitution's requirement that districts be as compact as may be possible. The lawsuit was brought by voters and advocacy groups. Try to say that word 3 times fast when you're having a really crappy day. Groups challenging the legislature's mid-decade redraw of the congressional districts. The primary criticism is that the map dilutes urban voting strength. Is that a bad thing, though? Is it really a bad thing? Is it really a bad thing that urban dense populations get to decide everything for everybody else? I don't really think that's how the founding fathers wanted stuff. Just saying. I could be wrong. I'm not a founding father. I don't even pretend to play one on TV or on video streams. But I'm pretty sure that's not what they had in mind. So the lawsuit was brought by... we already read that part. Sorry. So again, so the primary criticism is that the map dilutes urban voting strength and was designed for partisan advantage. Virginia is entering the chat, which prompts me to invite anyone with an electoral map not designed for partisan advantage to send it my way, please. That would be fascinating to see. I'm being serious. That was actually that was something the author of this piece put in there, but please show me a non-biased electoral map. That would be awesome. So the court ultimately was not persuaded by those arguments. The crux of Judge Kane's ruling is thus: redistricting statutes carry a strong presumption of validity. Plaintiffs must show the law clearly and undoubtedly violates the Constitution. Courts should not substitute their judgment for the legislature when multiple constitutionally valid maps could exist. The court concluded that the districts remain contiguous and reasonably compact and therefore constitutional, which caused a bunch of people's heads to explode, most likely. So the bottom line for the judge's decision here is that even if other maps might be more compact, that alone does not make the legislature's map unconstitutional. But as noted above, the ruling does not end at the broader legal dispute. The case involved more than one legal question. Judge Kane addressed the compactness challenge, but another major issue remains unresolved as of now, namely whether the Missouri legislature had the authority to read off congressional districts mid-decade in the first place. That question is already before the Missouri Supreme Court in a separate proceeding, and the court heard oral arguments on it on Tuesday. Pardon me. If the High Court rules that the mid-decade redistricting is impermissible, the map could still be invalidated, regardless of the Jackson County ruling on compactness. So for now, the Missouri 2025 map remains in effect. There is much weeping and gnashing of teeth from the left in Missouri, but will it remain? Only time will tell. So the map remains in effect, and filing for the August primaries began on February 24th and continues through March 31st. Unless a higher court intervenes in the interim, Missouri will likely conduct its upcoming elections using the new districts. It's hard to know how quickly the Missouri Supreme Court will issue its ruling on the matter, but let's just say it's best not to count those chickens just yet, no matter which side of the argument you happen to be on. All right, so let's see what other trouble we can get into real quick. Oh, I forgot about this. So I saw this come out yesterday, and I meant to put it to the top of my stuff. But then I got really, really mad about all the people that are like, please stop being mean to the Muslims in this country because not all of them are bad. Then they need to fucking prove it. Sorry. Well, I'm sorry. I am normally one of those innocent until proven guilty kind of things. But when it comes to terrorism, I follow UCMJ rules. You're guilty till you prove to me that you ain't. I don't know. I don't know another way to put it. But yeah. So remember how what is it? HHS Secretary Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. basically said, "Hey, we're taking a lot of the junk food off of food stamps. Can't get candies and cakes and all that stuff anymore," which I know it would be a pain in the butt, but I think they really should limit it to where you're only allowed to get one of certain things a month. Like that way for people that are like super broke and want to get a birthday cake, they still can. But hey, I'm a fat kid, so I'm never opposed to cake. Maybe if I ate less cake, it wouldn't be so bad. But anyway, so being on public assistance shouldn't be convenient or comfortable, and it also shouldn't be unlimited. And I happen to agree with that. I think because when I was on food stamps, way back in the day when I had to use them, it was still when they were actual stamps. And I remember having to go into the grocery store with the booklets with the little blue paper over the top that had all the stuff that looked exactly like Monopoly money, and have to go in and count out and it was something that I didn't want to have to deal with, and I figured out how to get off that crap as quickly as possible because I didn't like it. It was embarrassing. But now it's just a swipe it kind of thing, and I think that has removed a lot of the stigma. And I'm sorry, sometimes stigma is a good thing. Sometimes stigma can be a motivation when nothing else can be. So the fact that we keep making it more and more comfortable for these people to stay on these social safety net programs that, and I've talked about this before, in my opinion, they've become social spider webs because they're almost impossible to get out of. And that is because as a supervisor for multiple companies, including the owner of a security company, there were people that worked for me in pretty much every supervisory role that I've ever been in that would actually turn down promotions that came with pay raises because it would stay if I gave them, let's say somebody was right on the bubble and they were able to make what I was paying them without it affecting their food stamps, but then I tried to promote them or give them a raise and it was say $1.50 an hour, and they did the math and they were like, that gets rid of over $400 a month in food stamps. So your $1.50 an hour isn't going to be the same thing. So I respectfully decline. And this is why I've said for a long time, since we've made it as easy as we've made it, there needs to be a transitional period where you let people start taking the steps to be able to get themselves off of these programs without immediately taking them away, so that people can still have that bit of a safety net, take the raise, maybe get a little more confident, maybe try to go to work somewhere else that can pay a little bit more, see if they're eligible for even another promotion that might actually lift them far enough out of and off of the poverty line that they don't need the food stamps anymore. But at the same time, because we've made everything so easy, then really it doesn't matter anymore. All they do is they go in, they buy whatever they want, they swipe a card. As long as there's money, as long as there's supposed money on there, they leave and they have Twinkies and cupcakes and sodas and all these things. And so anyway, so yeah, back to the article real quick. So the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or SNAP, it should be being used to provide minimal and temporary aid. As the saying goes, a hand up, not a handout. What's more, where food assistance is concerned, it should be limited to food of proven nutritional value. Not candy, not sugary drinks, not prepared foods. I kind of disagree on the prepared food part, because some of that stuff is actually still more healthy than the fast food crap. Not by much, but a little. So the Trump administration has been working to reform the SNAP program along these lines. Now a lawsuit filed against the United States Department of Agriculture, which administers the SNAP program, is challenging the new rules. The plaintiffs are demanding that they be allowed to obtain sugary drinks and candy with their benefits. I'm going to say that again. The plaintiffs are demanding that they be allowed to obtain sugary drinks and candy with their benefits. Yes, I'm being serious, and please don't call me Shirley. Food stamp recipients sued the U.S. Department of Agriculture on Wednesday to undo the Trump administration's efforts to prevent them from using benefits to buy products such as sugary drinks, energy drinks, and candy. In a complaint filed in the Washington, D.C. federal court, 5 plaintiffs said the restrictions destabilize food access for participants in the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. Then we're going to have to change the name, because it's the Supplemental Fattening Assistance Program, SFAP, not nutrition. In the 22 U.S. states where the department has approved so-called food restrictions waivers, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have endorsed the waivers as part of the Make America Healthy Again, otherwise known as the MAHA movement. Destabilized food access by limiting the benefits to actual food? Really? That did they stretch before they made that reach? Because holy crap. In fact, that actually seems like an incredible stretch. Like Stretch Armstrong or not Johnny Storm. What the hell's the dad? Reed Richards. There we go. That's a stretch on the order of trying to thread a needle by driving a 1959 Cadillac through it. And the plaintiffs, of course, are claiming that they need these products. The plaintiffs, who live in Colorado, Iowa, Nebraska, Tennessee, and West Virginia, say they or family members rely on the restricted foods to manage health conditions. Say what now? Such as diabetes. My name is Wilfred Brimley, and I'm here today to talk to you about diabetes, and the junk food does not help you maintain, it helps you maintain diabetes, but it doesn't really help you do much about diabetes. Also, apparently, in allergies, or to obtain energy boosts needed to conduct their daily lives. They said the waivers cause confusion at the checkout line and cause irreparable harm by forcing them to choose between spending cash on restricted items or foregoing spending on basics such as rent and transportation. One plaintiff, Amanda Johnson of Knoxville, Tennessee, said letting her state's waiver take effect could restrict her autistic 19-year-old daughter to only 3 safe foods and beverages, one of which is bottled water, because of a serious eating disorder. So what exactly is she being restricted from? That yo no comprendo. I don't get it. So she intends to address this person's serious eating disorder by feeding her junk food. Wouldn't some form of, professional help be a much better idea? Anyway, so this argument rings very hollow. When I saw this coming out the other day, I assumed there was probably some sort of an ambulance chaser involved, because let's face it, government is the great white whale of ambulance chasers. And I do know this. It's probably going to wind up being a class action suit. So none of these people are going to get anything from it. The lawyers are going to get a lot, one way or the other. People, probably not so much. But yeah, this is just dumb. It's just dumb. All right. I know it was a weird show. It was discombobulated. Everything was a mess. Hey, we got a wait, what are you playing hooky today, sir? I just saw the buffoon of the week dude in my chat. You playing hooky today, sir? Anyway. All right, well, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our time together, as much as it pains me to say so. But I'll be back in about an hour, because I'm insane. So Wednesday and Friday are the days that everybody just looks at me like I'm nuts, because Wednesday I do this show from 12 to 2 Eastern, and then I'm usually back by 7, either in front of the mic or pushing buttons for somebody else, and then doing that off and on from 7 until about midnight or so. And then Friday, we do this one at noon. We do the Weekend News Roundup at 3, and then I do He Said, She Said at 8:30, because I'm insane. But if you are so inclined, make sure you do come back and join us for all those things. We're going to go out kind of the way that we came in, just so I can at least make up a little bit of the time that I owe you guys today, because it's Friday, and I don't usually play this one that often, and it happens to be one that I keep meaning to get put out on all the streaming places, because everybody that I've listened to is like, dude, this should be being played in like every club every Friday night. Just saying. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be famous one of these days for writing music. Who knows? But we'll see you guys in about an hour. Bye.
Got a vendetta. Coffee tastes like bad decisions I ain't made yet. Boss man talking about we got her, and that means me, brother. Afraid I got a terminal case of the I don't want us. Mind checked out, heart ain't in the building. That second hand's crawling like it hates my guts. The man treating rich like it's a sin, even God took a beat. So, suck it. Thank God it's Friday, punching out loud. Hands in the air, middle finger to 9 to 5. Bill's still waiting, but tonight I don't care. Cold beer sermon and the bar stool prayer. Take this job and shove it, I quit. Till Monday. Cause tonight I'm free. Yeah, work and wait. It ain't owning me. So raise them up high. Let the whistle blow. Thank God it's Friday. That's all I know. HR in the break room sounding like a preacher, talking about culture, smiles, and being team players. Clipboard dreams on the floor resting light, selling hours of my life just to make it to Friday night. Got dirt on my jeans, and grease on my hands, clock more over than quality plans. But when that bell rings, it's a holy sound. Feel like chains hit the floor when it echoes around. I ain't lazy, I just work my fill. If rest is a sin, guess I always will. Thank God it's Friday.
punching out live. Hands in the air, middle finger to 9 to 5. Bill's still waiting, but tonight I don't care. Cold beer sermon and a bar stool prayer. Take this job and shove it, I quit. Till Monday, cause tonight I'm free. Yeah, work and wait, it ain't on to me. So raise 'em up high, let the whistle blow. Thank God it's Friday, that's all I know. Boss can have Monday, God on Sunday, but Friday night's mine, I ain't giving it away. I earned this beer, I earned this pay, earned every sip I'm about to take. Thank God it's Friday, punching out alive. Hands in the air, middle finger to 9 to 5. Bill's still waiting, but tonight I don't care. Cold beer sermon and a bar stool prayer. Take this job and shove it, I quit. Till Monday, cause tonight I'm free. Yeah, work and wait, it ain't on to me. So raise 'em up high, let the whistle blow.